Cartoon commentary is not intended for children. Tom, Keith, and Cory are usually wrong, and anything they say can and probably will offend you. Apologies in advance. Commence the podcast.
Cartoon commentary.
Record now. We are recording now. It is on record.
Are we recording for sure?
Yeah. It's
So we're
happening.
recording now?
It's
Right now?
It's totally happening.
We're
It's-
recording?
Yeah.
Wow.
As we speak.
It's happening.
It is. What do the cool kids say? It's on fleek. Do they still do that? Do they do
I
that
don't think
thing?
they say that.
I don't know.
Is it
Nope.
is it dabbing?
What?
No. But I do know. I actually do know what the cool kids say.
I flossed
It's-
earlier today.
Cowabunga! What's up, Internet? Welcome to the first ever episode of Cartoon Commentary, a podcast where three best friends in their 30s talk about old, new, and sometimes totally radical cartoons. I'm Cory, Leonardo Zamir.
I'm Tom, Raphael O'Connell.
Oh, god damn it, Tom!
I knew he was gonna fuck it up.
I'm
You're clearly Donatello.
You're clearly Donatello. I am Keith Raphael Barnovsky because Tom is clearly Donatello, being a fucking
Well-
scientist.
Okay, hold on.
All right.
Red
Well, as
is-
we'll get to later in this episode, there's plenty of Raphael to go around.
That's true.
Yes,
But
I know what
also-
you're talking about.
But also, I didn't mean to drop an F-bomb in the first 15 seconds of our episode, but
Nah, it's
there you
fine. There'll
go.
be plenty of those anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Gotta ruin everything.
So
I try.
Yeah. This is cartoon commentary. As I said, we're gonna talk about some cartoons here. This is our first ever episode. Each week we're going to take turns picking episodes, I guess. And I am up first with, of course, probably, in my opinion at least, the most important cartoon of my childhood, and probably a lot of us if you're in your 30s. Probably one of the most important cartoons that you grew up with. The original 1987 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
But first, let's give a little explanation of who we are. I'm Cory Zamir, YouTuber, very, famous on YouTube, as you know, not really. Collect retro video games, very into nostalgia in general, collect action figures, board games, blah, blah, blah. Full-time reseller, so I have the time to sit around and think about editing these videos eventually, in these podcasts, so that works out pretty good for us. Tom, you want to take it away?
Sure. Again, I'm Tom O'Connell, experimental nuclear physicist. Not kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes you really qualified to watch
It
cartoons.
sounds like you just pulled that out of your ass.
I know.
You are actually so overqualified to watch cartoons.
I am an expert. All of my training, all of my education, all of my life has led up to this moment. So yeah. I'm wrapping up my PhD. I should be doing my defense in like a month or so. Yeah, about a month. And then I'll be done and can focus on cartoon commentary full time.
Fuck a job, right?
Right.
Don't bother using that degree you spent a decade getting.
I like these two grew up watching cartoons and have a lot of nostalgia for 90s and 80s cartoons and even newer cartoons and like getting into anime. I got into anime in my early 20s, I think, maybe even late teens. So
Late bloomer.
yeah. The rest of you guys were starting real early. I started
Well,
late.
not Keith.
No, not
Keith.
me.
Keith's a not bloomer.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
I still have yet to bloom.
To fully
Yeah.
blossom.
So I guess
So
that's me. So
Yeah.
I'm Keith Barnovsky. I don't know. Like, what am I? I work in a financial company. I'm a senior business analyst, and I used to be a chef. So, I like I like talking about food a lot and Excel spreadsheets. That's I don't know. I apparently I have a personality disorder because those two things do not mix. But I also grew up on cartoons. But as we just noted, my anime experience was Dragon Ball Z, and then later in life, I watched like some Death Note and Bleach, and was like, "Wow, this is the whole thing, right?" So
That's not even the tip of
I
the iceberg.
I know those anime people out there are just probably really angry at me. We just lost them. Sorry, guys. So,
We'll
but
watch anime eventually,
yeah, but
sooner than you think.
yeah, I'm excited to watch the cosm of like new and old cartoons. Like because we're going to watch stuff from our childhood and realize it's either fantastic or it's total garbage and we just love it for nostalgia's
All about
sake.
nostalgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we're going to watch newer stuff and realize that it's fantastic or it's just garbage that is just checking all the boxes and that's why it's popular. Like we're gonna delve in, we're gonna rate stuff on a scale that really truly doesn't matter because it's just our opinion, and people are gonna probably hate it. No, love it.
Yeah, that's
Sorry,
why there's
wrong
a
word. Love it.
well, yeah, that's why there's a disclaimer at the beginning of the episode. Um, one of the reasons we did want to start this podcast is because we used to play. Can you guys hear that?
The airplane.
Yeah. Are you
Yeah,
getting
Jesus
are you getting
Christ.
air rated?
I'm getting air rated. Someone just hit their kill streak in Call of Duty. So
No.
bye guys. I guess I'm dead.
Is that a care package? It's an Omicron
It might be.
care package.
I have to go check outside. Anyway, we we used to play D&D in person before this little situation that is happening in the world currently started happening, and then we slowly were playing online Dungeons and Dragons, and eventually that kind of broke down. And we had been talking for years and years about wanting to do a podcast. We just literally had no clue what we wanted to do a podcast about. So we were listening to things like The Adventure Zone, Hello from the Magic Tavern, trying to figure out exactly
Yeah.
what we wanted to do, where we could find our voice. So hopefully we found it.
I feel like we also
We're going to talk
realized that
about
like
cartoons.
the first year of the pandemic when we were talking about this before the pandemic, but the first year of the pandemic, I think that we also realized like, oh no, everybody has this idea right now. So like the market is flooded with people that are staying home doing podcasts with each other virtually. So we took the time to procrastinate. I was going to say hone our craft, but we took the time to procrastinate and just wait. Let's just wait real long and then come out with the same thing we probably would have done anyway.
Yeah. And you read a book.
I
Everybody
did.
has a podcast
did.
except you. And now that's not true because
Also-
we have a podcast. So.
Can you guys tell that I used to be in sales?
Who's you guys? Like
Well,
us?
yeah,
who
you
know
and
you were in
and
sales,
Tom
or
are-
the audience?
no? Well, that's true. You know that I was in sales. I just feel like I'm really selling this good.
Yep.
All right then.
Sorry.
So I knew from the moment we decided to do cartoon commentary that our very first episode should be about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because, like I said before, it's probably the most important cartoon. I think most of my earliest memories involve Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, whether it's getting the action figures back in the day, watching the cartoon back when I lived at my old house when I was like 5 years old, 4 years old, something like that.
Mm.
And it's crazy to think that this was coming out when we were basically 1 year old. Like, it's been with us
Yeah.
our whole lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I've told you guys this, but I had the first Ninja Turtles like live action movie, and I watched it to death on VHS.
Yeah.
Like it was so worn out, like it was snowy, like tracking garbage, like because I literally watched it every single day. When I
Yep.
was in elementary school for years, I would watch it every single day when I got home from school.
That's how me and my brothers were when it came to the Ninja Turtle movie. Same deal. We grew up on that, watching the first, the second, even the third one when the Turtles in Time, when they go back to feudal Japan. The
Yeah.
third live
Don't
action
call
movie.
that Turtles in Time.
Yeah, I know. I caught
disrespectful.
myself. I'm like, ooh, shouldn't have said Turtles in Time. But yeah, I grew up doing that, and I even remember being like 5 years old and being dressed as in. Here's where the Raphael comes in. My favorite color is red, so I've always been a
Yeah.
Raphael fan. And there's pictures of me and my brothers at Halloween when we were, real little, dressed as Ninja Turtles. I remember wearing the fake turtle shell on the back and having the mask around the eyes. It was
Yep,
yeah, it was
yep. I had
yeah.
one. I have a picture like that of me dressed as Leonardo in my old backyard with the toy sword and everything. So, despite that, Leonardo wasn't my favorite growing up. Michelangelo was, which I'll explain later in this episode. But, you get older and you realize that maybe you just aren't quite that party dude that you thought you might be. And,
You know,
I mean, despite being unqualified for it, you end up in the position of leadership often throughout playing D&D and
is
hosting podcasts.
is it
So you
just
kind of...
is it just that Michelangelo's he's kind of a fuckboy? Like, I mean, come on, he's like
Yeah.
a BOI fuckboy.
Oh,
I'm agreeing with Keith.
Come on, he's
I'm agreeing
that's
100% with Keith.
harsh. That's harsh.
I mean it in the least harsh way possible. I don't think he means
I
to
think of it as a
be.
compliment.
He just is. He's a good
Oh.
as well as my mother would say. He's a good time Charlie.
Oh, wow.
He's the dude that's just looking to have a good time regardless of the consequences. And unfortunately for Michelangelo, there's a lot of consequences.
I just felt like
mainly
Michelangelo...
Mainly him just falling into the sewer.
He's always like an inch away from being the turtle that ends up doing drugs.
Dude, he put his penicillin on pizza. I mean, yeah.
I didn't know what you were saying at first. I thought you were mispronouncing penis.
Well,
Well, he is a fuckboy.
He put his penis on the pizza.
He's no, in the Ninja Turtles movie, he like had to. Well, no, actually, no. If I remember it correctly,
I got your extra large sausage
no.
right here.
Technically, I think Danny put his penicillin on the pizza to eat it because he didn't like the taste of it. But then Michelangelo was going to eat the pizza, and then he was like, "Well, there's penicillin on it," and then Michelangelo pretended that he was like sick and about to die, like jokingly, so he would eat the pizza. And now I'm really hoping that penicillin was not a code word for something. Anyway,
I thought it was because the pizza was moldy.
oh,
It was old moldy pizza.
Yeah.
that makes so much.
That makes more
See,
sense.
That makes more sense. Me being a 6-year-old,
thought
I
you saw
thought it
this
was
movie a
really
million times.
penicillin.
Well, like I
yeah,
said-
when I was 6. It was like age 6 to 9. Giggity.
All of my training and education, my entire life has led up to this point, Keith. I finally got that joke just now and was able to point it out to you that it was a penicillin
Goddamn.
pizza because it was
See-
old moldy.
See, this content continues to educate and evolve.
Yep.
It's timeless.
So, one thing that's always stood out with this cartoon, and it's weird to start with this one just because we're probably going to talk a decent amount about like the music from cartoons, like the opening theme. And holy shit, does Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just drag its balls right across everybody else's face? It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's clearly by far like the best opening theme for a cartoon. And all it is just them saying the same thing over and over again pretty much and then explaining what the turtles do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like all they say about Leonardo is Leonardo leads, Donatello does machines. Like, you know, it's the soup. It's like so ridiculously simple, but it's perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know. Even being 35 now, when I was watching this episode earlier, I got so pumped up hearing that song. Like I just imagined myself sort of like trying to do karate kicks like when I was a little kid. Only,
Yep.
if I do it now, I'll break myself. So
You'd
that
break
didn't
in
happen.
half.
So
The other thing we should mention, because we'll probably mention it a lot, is Tom has a broken back.
Yeah, yeah.
well,
It
I mean,
broke,
it was
and then
broken, and
I mean, it's
He's
it's
just-
in a constant state of almost broke, right?
he's just never fixed it fully. It's just never going to be
Yeah.
fixed
No,
fully.
no. What happens is I get it almost fixed, and then I have some kind of big setback where it breaks again, and then I have to have another surgery where I'm almost there. So
Those brittle discs.
yeah,
You gotta get the Hardy disc, Tom. Next time you go to Home Depot to buy discs for your back, you gotta buy the top shelf ones. You gotta stop buying those job lot, garbage
Yeah.
back discs.
Yep,
So
that's the problem.
I was gonna say, I watched some of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with my daughter like a month or so ago, and she obviously she knew about them before that too. Like we saw some other like random stuff, and she never remembers the names. So usually she calls them like the teeny tiny Ninja Turtles, like Ninja Turtle. She got the Ninja Turtle part, but the prefixes before that they change up. They're usually the teeny tiny Ninja Turtles, but sometimes they're just like the teeny Ninja Turtles or the 2D Ninja Turtles, or like she'll just change things. But we used to take walks around the park down the street from my house, and every time she sees like a storm drain, she goes, "The teeny tiny Ninja Turtles live down there," and I'm like, "Yep, you're right. You're damn right. They definitely do." So I'm raising her right. Just to let everyone know. She knows they're down there. I also tell her never ever go down there or try to go down there. For the love
Yeah,
of
because
God.
clowns also live down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's if she ever tries to go down there, that's when I pull out that movie. And I'm like, here you go. Be scared forever.
So I'm realizing now that with you guys watching the first movie on VHS, I was kind of a little bit less fortunate when I was younger. Do you know what VHS of the Ninja Turtles I had was?
which one?
Do you remember the Coming Out of Their Shells tour?
No,
I do.
that sounds
It's a musical
Yep.
like stage play that they used to do
It's
where
so
all the
bad.
turtles were basically bedazzled
Yeah.
and had instruments instead of weapons.
what?
But it gets worse. As a kid, I didn't have the Coming Out of Their Shells tour VHS tape. I had the making of the Coming Out of Their Shells tour VHS tape. So it didn't even have the whole
Wow.
tour show on it. It just had like, hey, here's some behind the scenes
Wait.
stuff of
You didn't even get to
the
see
Coming Out of Their Shells tour.
You didn't
No,
even
I saw
see-
bits and pieces.
you didn't see the shitty show. You saw the making of the shitty show.
Yes. Yes, and I watched the ever-loving hell out of that.
So instead of seeing the giant pile of shit in the toilet and staring at that for an hour, you just got to stare at someone grunting while sitting on the toilet for an hour.
Basically.
I actually
Basically. And I remember at one of my
if that's the analogy, I don't know which is worse.
at one of the first sleepovers I ever had, I convinced my friend to watch this, and they immediately were just like, "No, this is horrible. What is going on?"
Yeah, but you were like,
I
this is
was at
all I
like
got,
age
man.
5.
You're like, this is all I got. This is all I got. That's Ninja Turtles.
Oh, it was so bad. I'm like looking back on that, and it's just like, wow, you guys really had it good with having the actual movie.
Yeah.
I'm just rewatching this.
I mean,
All right,
to
but we
be
should.
honest, really had it good. Like, you want to, like, I watched that thing every single day. You know why? Because that was, like, the only Ninja Turtles. Well, I eventually had, like, some action figures and whatnot, but that was, like, the only Ninja Turtles, like, movie, TV show, whatever, that I had at the time. Because anything that was like the TV show, I was not watching it at the correct time. Like other people were using the TV. I didn't actually
Oh,
like. I think I saw some episodes of this cartoon like rerun when they came on like randomly, but like I didn't get to see this cartoon like in order in any sense of the, you know, the way that it should
well,
have
I feel
been
like that
done.
was
Poor
that was
bastard.
like an issue I think all of us would have had as kids with like basically any cartoon we were trying to follow.
Yeah,
Because like you're never like, at least for me, I was never like set in a schedule in such a way that I could just be like, oh yeah, the next episode is on today. Let me
no.
watch it, kind of thing. Like even with like Saturday morning cartoons,
Okay,
despite the fact
this
that some of the ones I was trying to watch were jumping around like X-Men, it was
this is
always impossible to.
well, I was gonna say this is weird because as you're describing this, I'm like, what is wrong with the two of you? Did you not care enough about the cartoons to make sure you got up at like 6 a.m. on Saturdays to watch everything from the week
Tom,
before? Because that's what I did.
I was not
I didn't have an alarm clock.
I was not cognizant of
Oh,
the
I had a big
fact.
Garfield one.
Yeah, I was not cognizant of the fact that, like, oh, I'm watching this. What time is it? Is this the air time or the rerun time? When
Wow.
does
See, I actually did think of that when I was a kid.
I well
Well, that's why you're
I did
a
once I
fucking
got to be like
scientist, Tom.
yeah I did once I got to be like 12, not when I was 6.
Oh God, I remember when I was, I think it was like first grade. I used to get up at 6 in the morning because MTV used to do the reruns of Beavis and Butthead at 6 in the morning, and I used to switch between that and Mr. Wizard on Nickelodeon. Like when Beavis and Butthead would go to the music videos or the commercial breaks, I'd switch over to Mr. Wizard to learn something.
In
Wow.
between your just guttural humor,
Yeah, yeah.
you're just like, oh wait, I have 3 minutes to learn science.
Yep. And then switch back.
Oh,
All right, so
Awesome.
today we are talking about the second episode of the 1987 TMNT cartoon, Enter the Shredder. I decided to pick this episode mostly because it has some of the most interesting action sequences and also the debut of some of my favorite villains of all time. Actually, 3 of them, to be precise. So we start off in this episode, and the turtles are getting much needed rest from battling the Foot Clan for the first time when they are rudely awoken by their new friend that they just met, April O'Neil, a Channel 6 news reporter. She wakes them up, and the turtles begin every day by sparring with each other. Basically, the one-on-one fighting mode of Turtles in Time, if you've ever played it.
yeah, but
I'm pretty sure that was the game that had that in there,
it's just funny
where you
that
could
like
fight each other one-on-one.
they reference like
I think so.
they're just like, nah, April, like chill until we have breakfast, but before we have breakfast we train. And it's like
Yeah.
it's a very like I wonder if like the people that do like fasted exercise or intermittent fasting were like turtle fans back in the day. They were just like, well, the fucking Ninja Turtles didn't eat breakfast. They just worked out first. Like that's a great way to stay in shape, right? This fucking cartoon. So I don't know. It just like like young me never caught on to that, and like older me who has tried like a whole bunch of diets and whatnot, like looks at a TV show like this in the 80s being like, I really hope that somebody didn't write a book on this shit, because they were like, well, I was watching an episode of the Ninja Turtles and they don't eat breakfast right away, so therefore you could lose weight by not eating breakfast because a cartoon did it.
Well, to be fair, not eating breakfast while wrestling a mutant Ninja Turtle who happens to be a teenager.
Oh.
Yep. That's part of it, Keith.
I mean, the whole clause of that has to be a teenager thing sounds dirty. I'm not gonna lie. You're like, wait, you gotta not eat breakfast, okay? You gotta wrestle a mutant ninja turtle, okay? But it has to be a teenager.
Yeah, because you don't know.
That's where
you
the
don't
line
know.
is.
Is it a 19-year-old Ninja Turtle or a 13-year-old Ninja Turtle?
I'm 35. Number one, I don't want to wrestle a teenager because of two reasons. Number one, it just sounds wrong. And number two, I'm sure that teenagers are probably closer to their prime than I am. So I'm gonna get my ass handed to me.
Yes, that's
Just
why you
like
should worry.
Michelangelo got his ass handed to him by Leonardo.
Oh, he so did.
He got fucking put into that wall.
He was owned. Which, by the way,
childhood me.
that throw he does, Leonardo does where he grabs Michelangelo and then like rolls backwards while throwing Michelangelo over him through the air. I'm like, that reminded me so much of the Turtles in Time game, because there was a move where you could
the screen.
You could grab and whip him and throw him the same exact way. I was like, wow, did they actually model that from this episode, or did they take the inspiration for that move from the TV show? But yeah,
I mean, they could have.
Yeah.
They could have. I think that's also similar to what Ryu does in Street Fighter. Like his throw is very similar to that, if I remember. But yeah, childhood me, when I'd watch this, would always get upset because I was a Michelangelo fan, and I was just like, God damn it. Why is he the only one that gets embarrassed in this scene? But like, as an adult, I'm just like, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because you're like, oh, well, Michelangelo was eating too much pizza the night before.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially like later on in the cartoon and maybe other iterations, like Michelangelo is also kind of the fat turtle
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he eats more pizza than all the other ones and is lazier.
Which just, I mean, if we go back to the video game chronology, just means he has more health. If he eats more pizza, he's got a full health bar all the time.
I mean, and he is technically the strongest one, right?
I don't
We'll
know
find
about
that out later, I guess. We'll find that one out later, for sure. So after sparring, they eat breakfast, which happens to be pizza topped with a variety of cereals.
I want to try that so bad.
breakfast pizza.
No.
The
So,
thing is, they didn't
one
put
of
the
the
cereal
things-
on and then bake the pizza. The pizza's already
No,
cooked,
it's
and they
just-
just
they
topped it with
sprinkle it
cereal.
on there.
But yeah, but that's a textural, like, so you're eating pizza, but there's crunchy things on it.
So there's so many different pizzas they come up with throughout the course of this series that is like, it just like turns my stomach just thinking about it.
Yeah,
Do you guys know Angry Video Game Nerd?
I've heard, yeah.
I've heard of them. Yeah,
I think I've seen
Well-
a little bit, but was not like,
Well, years and years ago, I don't remember exactly when, he did a video on his Cinemassacre YouTube channel where they go through the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle show and they start recreating and trying
No.
all like the random pizzas that they
I wanna-
come up with.
now I want to watch this guy.
So
That sounds
I
great.
have, it's more of a taste test thing. So it's like watching the video isn't all that great, but just like going back and like thinking about like some of the pizzas, which I've made a list of here. Pizza with clams.
Well, Yeah,
Anybody in for that one?
I've
Isn't
had
that a normal pizza?
I've had a clam pizza.
Is it?
Yeah,
I've made a
yeah.
clam-
That sounds
I've seen that on
horrifying.
lots of menus.
Generally, you don't use red sauce for those. You use like
Right.
just olive oil, mozzarella cheese, and you do clams and like minced garlic and
Yeah.
oregano.
All right,
And
so
then
how about
it's
this next one?
Fucking delicious.
Peanut butter avocado with extra pickles.
Well, that's fucking weird. That's
That's disgusting.
I've done avocado on pizza. I have not done pickles, but I could imagine a potential
But peanut butter?
Yeah, peanut butter is the weird one, dude. Because like the pickles, like if you did like a cheeseburger pizza and like put some pickles on it afterwards, okay. Peanut butter. Peanut butter
How
is a
about
weird one.
marshmallow and asparagus?
No,
Ooh.
Corey.
Oh.
That's
Butterscotch and onions with anchovies.
I like onion.
I actually like all of those things, just
But
not
not together.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing is, like, liking something doesn't mean you want to combine the two things that you
Yes.
like together all the time.
That's you know
Like, that's like, so for instance, do you like chocolate sprinkles?
yeah.
Do you like them with your clam sauce
Nope.
on your
Ooh.
pizza?
No. That's
Clams
Yeah,
sauce.
that's one of the ones
So
that they come up
this
with.
reminds me, my daughter's been asking to make mango pizza.
Oh,
Yeah. And it might happen this weekend because we actually bought mangoes.
well,
And
Put pickles on
well,
it.
so this is the thing though. There's the
that's
big,
like one step away from pineapple on pizza.
that's
which
what-
if,
that's what I
which
was
if you're
just-
okay with. It's,
that's what I was just gonna say though. But there's a big controversy where people either love pineapple pizza or they hate pineapple pizza. Like, I mean, there's people in the middle, but the loudest people are on one side or the other. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like when you take any other sort of fruit, and mango, in my opinion, in the context of putting it on pizza, would be similar to pineapple. Like it is not as tart as pineapple, but it is at least like a tropical fruit. It's not like being like I made a blueberry pizza, you know.
Oh, that's weird.
I didn't make an apple pizza. Like
Put some grapes on a pizza.
yeah, exactly. Like it's like
Like throw whatever random fruit.
so mango seems possible. And the thing is that like I was almost thinking I might do it a couple different ways. It's just like put mango on the pizza and bake it and like whatever. But like make a mango salsa. What if you do like a chicken or a pulled pork pizza and then afterwards you just sprinkle like a mango salsa on it? That would probably just be delicious. So
Yeah.
What
I'm
you should
gonna-
do, since you have a pizza oven in your backyard, because you're a psychopath,
yeah.
once people are actually able to come over again, you should have a mystery pizza day. Or mystery pizza party, where you have to guess what pizza it is. Only rule is no mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Oh, no man.
Okay,
That's
I'm
fine.
good with that.
Show
You
up.
realize that one of them is going to be anchovy and garlic. But the funny thing
Well, I
is,
mean,
I think I've
I'm
had
gonna
one of your
eyeball it.
anchovy and garlic
you
pizzas.
probably have.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, you mince them both up like super super fine.
Yeah.
It's like almost a
All right,
paste.
never mind. I'm out. I don't trust this anymore.
No, you sprinkle it on the pizza, and honestly, I've given it to people like that are eating. It's like people that came over. I've put that pizza out just because I'm so busy. So like sometimes I just like I put it out and I'm like, oh, it's this, and not everybody's in the room. And one girl was
Yeah.
eating it, and she was like, "This pizza's really good. What's on? Is there like sausage on here? Like what's on here?" And I'm like, and I look at it, I'm like, "Oh, it's anchovies and garlic." And she's like, "No, it's not." And I'm like, yeah, it is. It's anchovies and garlic. She's like, "This tastes really good." And I'm like, yeah, anchovies are fucking bomb. Like, the problem is, like, if you get anchovies too concentrated, like, if you eat, like, a big bite of anchovy, it's fishy. If you get small little bits of anchovy, it's umami.
Yeah.
Like, it gives you just this, like, background flavor that you can't quite place, but it's adding like a salty, just like richness kind of feel to it. And then it's mostly overpowered by garlic. So it's just a garlicky umami pizza. It's fucking awesome. And
So,
Corey's still just not fucking sold on this at all.
well, no, my apprehension is, I don't know. I feel like I've had weird reactions to like fish related food in the not so distant past that I'm like,
Like
at this
allergic
point in my life,
reactions.
is it, yeah, like where it's just like, you ever like, well, you probably don't because you probably don't have any allergies like that, but
No.
when, because I've been, I'm allergic to tree nuts and stuff like that. So if I'm served something that I think has nuts in it, like, every once in a while you get a cookie that's just like, well, is this walnuts? Is this not walnuts? If you think it's there, you still sometimes get that like
Wait.
what is it? Psychosomatic like
Yeah.
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 reaction to like, I think my throat's closing up. And
It's
I've had that like with shrimp, like when I was camping, and it's just like I don't know if I'm allergic to shrimp because this was my first time having it. I didn't like it, but I'm not sure if I'm dying, kind of thing.
The good
Yeah.
news is that anchovies are a very tiny fish that, as far as I know, there's not really any cross contamination because they're fishing them in like pools of fish and nets. Like it's it's not something that gets cross contaminated with shellfish.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
like-
the other thing is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like throughout the years, they're kind of inconsistent on it, but they usually refer to anchovies as being like something that's like, ew, gross.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
On their pizzas, but every once in a while Michelangelo will order on his pizza. And then in another episode they'll be like, but no anchovies. So it's
Yeah.
like super inconsistent.
Well, you
with
know
that.
what it is?
So,
Is maybe it's based on the pizza place though, because honestly, I've experienced this where some pizza places will, if you order anchovies, they will dice or mince up the anchovies and put it on the pizza, and some places put
Put the whole ones.
whole fillets of anchovies.
Gross.
Which honestly, I am to the point where I will eat whole anchovy fillets. But I understand why people would not want that much anchovy flavor in one bite. So I can understand it like based on where they're getting it from. And this is my only excuse to try to solidify the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle culture instead of breaking it. Like, to try to give them the excuse of being like, well, maybe it was just the place that put whole pieces on instead of the diced
I
pieces.
don't think they were going that deep in it, Keith.
I'm trying to be helpful.
Yeah, so back in the episode, Splinter offers April some sushi when she asks for real food, and she passes on that. And I feel like this was
well,
kind of like,
Let's be honest,
What
the real
was
food
that?
the real food was the pizza with the cereal on it. And then she was like, ew, I want real food. And he was like, here's some sushi. And I'm like, that's also real food. But then I thought
But
about it
it's
and I was like,
totally not
oh,
sushi on
oh.
that plate, though.
no, it is sushi. It's just badly drawn because it's 1987.
Are you
And-
sure they look
That's
like
true.
they look like hairy hamburger buns, little hamburger,
Oh,
like
God.
the
they
slider
they,
buns?
They drew it like shit. Like that's the person the
Well-
people drawing it just didn't understand what sushi was.
Yeah, everyone knows
what
sushi
I was
is
going
a
to say
jelly
is,
donut.
oh yeah. Well, what I was going to say is sushi back then, like this is 1987, and I feel like in children's cartoons, like anchovies, sushi, like there were just certain foods that they felt inclined to be like, ew, gross.
Yeah.
And I remember growing up thinking like, oh, she raw fish, ew, thing like every single cartoon or any type of media that was aimed at kids was just like anti-fish, anti-sushi.
Yeah.
So, like, I thought it was really weird when I got to be an adult, and I was like, oh, people are actually enjoying sushi? That's so weird. But it's like, a lot of people like sushi.
Yeah, I love sushi.
I don't, but,
Oh, well.
well, I
think
also am very, very narrow when it comes to what foods I'll try and enjoy. So,
that's true.
there's that.
You're a little bit picky. Well, as we discussed, I worked in restaurants for quite a while, and I don't know. I got to the point where there's honestly there's plenty of things that I don't like, but like even I've gotten to the point where I hated broccoli for a long time.
I don't understand that. It's such a, like, good baseline vegetable.
No, because my parents
It
used to
tastes like farts.
yeah, it tastes like farts. Well, not
It
only that, but like
doesn't.
my parents used to
It does.
boil. My parents
It's
used
the
to
only vegetable I like.
well, my really that's
Like, actively like. Like, I'll eat some other ones, but, like, broccoli is just
Which-
like, yeah, give me some
but
broccoli.
Cory,
That's good.
like you're kind of a picky eater, and you're then saying that like the
Maybe
only
I like farts. I don't know.
hey, you know, there's a
Nom 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 nom.
there's a whole internet
Shabby.
culture out there for you. But when I was growing up, my parents used to just like boil broccoli, and they was always like way overcooked, like just real stinky, like mushy broccoli, and I just didn't like it. If you just take broccoli and you roast it in the oven with olive oil, salt, and pepper, like, and it gets all like crisped up and like browned, it tastes great.
See, I don't even need that. I just like a steam fresh bag of broccoli, and that's
So
perfect for me.
if you
I don't like
steam
it when you doll it all up with a whole bunch of cheese and all this
No,
other shit.
well,
Like,
if
I don't
you
need
s-
that. I just
if
want
you
it plain.
steam it like properly, though, if you steam it like where it's not mushy, like you don't like way overcook it.
Yeah,
like
I don't
to
want it
me,
mushy.
the overcooked broccoli kills it. Like I want my broccoli to be like cooked through, but like not mush. If it's mush, then I just want you to like blend it up with some cheddar and make broccoli soup.
Ugh,
Broccoli and cheese soup.
not into that.
Eh,
So,
you could just
anyway.
get rid of
Goddamn.
broccoli.
Yeah, get back to turtles.
Yeah, so the main reason April's trying to get everybody up and out and on the way is because she needs a story for Channel 6 News, which she's works for and is in, we'll find out, apparent danger of being fired if she doesn't get a news story.
I like how she's literally
feels like it,
just
yeah.
she's just met these guys, and she's
Yeah.
like, "Hey,
Turtles, Keith.
go
They're
out there
turtles.
and get me a story because I'm about to lose my job."
Well, I think the situation is they want their privacy. So, like, she doesn't want to do the story on them so much, despite the fact that later in the episode they're going to run through the streets of New York
Yeah,
Yeah.
in broad daylight. But
but she realizes that they are in the center of attention, like they are where the action is. So she
yeah,
knows she will get a good story by following them. So she wants them to like wake up and go and do stuff.
and for some reason in this, like, a story means capturing someone doing something nefarious rather than, hey, mutant turtles exist.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like catch the technodrome under, underground under
It
New
felt
York, which
more like they were doing
you think
police
about it-
work.
She's got the long
Yeah.
play because the thing is, she could run the story one time of look at these mutant ninja turtles, and they'd be like, "Well, fucking bye, April." Like, that's it. Instead, she's like, "Oh, I'm your friend. I'll do the stories about the things that you do and interact with without filming you, and it's more of a cash cow."
So she's just using them. She
Yes.
doesn't.
Yeah.
She's not actually
yeah.
their friend.
She is the original TikToker.
I guess.
Keith, are you trying to act younger than you actually are?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently.
Still
I
trying
don't
to
even
do
know
it.
what that really is, so
I just dabbed. Did you see it?
nope. No, thank you.
All right.
So-
I'm just gonna floss her a little bit. Is it working?
So, Jesus. So, so this next scene, or I guess a frame of it, it gets used as the uh, credits. Like right when she says, "What a story!" It's like this big zoomed out scene of the turtles like entering where the Technodrome used to be underground. And I have such nostalgia for that ending credits because I remember being like so like not depressed but like bummed out that Turtles was over when I'd see that.
Yeah.
And what it would always mean was that it was time to change the channel because Charles in Charge was about to be on.
Oh my God, yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
Corey, yeah. I remember that. I remember
Yeah,
being a kid, the same feeling because it was Charles in Charge. Yeah.
yeah.
Holy
Like
cow.
now as an adult, like I love me some Scott Baio, but like back then I didn't give a shit. I
Right.
wanted more Turtles. And I remember we had so many like VHS tapes of like recorded off the TV episodes of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that would all end with that, but would usually also bleed over to like the first like 30 seconds of Charles in Charge, the way it would work out. So like there was always like this little snippet into what Charles in Charge was, and then it would go back to the next Turtle episode and it'd be like, oh, thank God. Yeah, so we in the next scene finally get to hear the late great James Avery as the Shredder. He's driving around the Technodrome underground, complaining of last night's defeat by mutant turtles.
Pretty good at
He
that.
then gets summoned by Krang. I wish I could do a Krang voice. That would be a weird voice to do for the rest of the episode.
Not bad at that either.
No, that was pretty
Yeah,
good.
it's pretty good.
It was almost too Krang.
I
To be
think it took
honest.
a year off my life, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to do that weird like guttural, not burp, but like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I
like,
can't
Yeah.
it's like
I know
a
what
weird,
you're talking about.
It's
It
like
just
a
can't be
burp.
done by humans. I
It's
don't
like
think.
it's like the opposite of a burp though. It's like nothing's going out, something's going in.
So what's
but
the
it-
opposite
but
of a burp?
It's like you're sucking air into your stomach instead of out of your like it's
God, I feel like that's gonna hurt.
yeah, oh yeah, totally.
Would it be like a hiccup?
Nope.
Maybe
A
no.
hiccup
Isn't
is
that
an
the opposite of a
no,
burp?
that's
Like
an
a hit-
involuntary
Yeah.
diaphragm movement. And like his is totally voluntary. Like his is like I'm a brain talking and I'm going to try to breathe right now. Like he's he like sucks air in a way where it's like a groan, a burp. And I don't know. There's a third part that I just can't put my finger on.
You want to say
it's
fart. You want to say it, but you
it's
know it
true.
isn't. It doesn't seem to fit. But
No, you can't. You can't burp and fart at the same time. We all know that.
have you tried it?
It's canon. I said it. So Corey,
Yeah, so he gets summoned by Krang, who is complaining about Shredder not fulfilling his part of the bargain. Krang's technology for an android body. Which doesn't really make sense if you think about it too much. Like, why would somebody with the technology that Krang possesses need the head of the
Yeah.
Foot
this
Clan,
is like the
a
biggest
human
plot
ninja
hole.
clan, who has basically no technology other than the technology you gifted him already, to make him an android body? Like, what does he really need? I think what
You
it comes
have to
down
get
to is
me a
like
body.
the supplies to make it, but
So the only thing I can think of is that maybe he needed to find him like a large enough human for Krang
Yeah, like,
to like
I feel
fit
like-
in.
I feel like early on in the series, they're not 100% specific on what that means, getting him a body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like almost like
Like,
they
in
wrote
looking
the
at him,
episodes.
you'd be thinking,
Well, like almost like they wrote the episodes going like, oh, we don't know if this guy's gonna be reoccurring, so like let's just give him like a generic like, oh yeah, he just wants a body because he's a brain, so he just wants a body, and he wants and this guy has the army, his army of ninjas, so whatever, and then like. The long play on it after they got into it for a while, I'm sure that some of the writers were like, "Hey guys, we fucked up. we fucked up bad because this does not make sense. It's a good thing that our average viewer is 7.
Yeah, so in passing, they exposition to each other, explaining basically the backstory that with Krang's mutagen, Shredder caused the existence of Splinter as a rat and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Mm.
Krang suggests basically fighting fire with fire, and that what if they use the mutagen with a much more powerful animal, then they can crush the turtles.
It's not a bad
Yeah,
idea.
so
Except
Well,
for the fact that
it's not a bad idea.
the turtles have like years of training at this point.
True.
I got a question for Keith. Keith, when you watched this, were you confused at all initially? Like when they said how he turned the turtles into, the Ninja Turtles, and then Splinter, who in the cartoon is seen as a human being, because
Hamato
in the
Yoshi.
yes, because in the movie he was a pet rat of the martial art guy. In fact, in the
Yeah.
movie, you could see the pet rat is in the cage, mimicking the moves. And I remember, like, so my whole life, I was like, okay, Splinter was just a rat who, learned, the martial arts skills by watching, and then got, mutagen on him and turned him big. But then watching this cartoon, I was like, wait a minute. Splinter was a human. The turtles were just turtles.
Yeah,
That
well, that's the weird thing is that this cartoon, I would say the best phrase is that the mutagen goes both ways. Because in one instance, the turtles got exposed to the mutagen, but then they show, like, the brief clip that they show is the turtles got exposed to the mutagen, and the first being that walks into the room is a human. So that's why the turtles became, like, humanized, right?
Yeah.
Through the mutagen. Versus the sorry, Cory, the name of Splinter, the proper name of Splinter,
Hamato Yoshi.
Hamato Yoshi, he got exposed to mutagen, but then the first thing he came into encounter with was a rat. So then he was a human who got ratified. That's a,
Nope.
it checks out. It checks
Is
out.
he a bill?
Yep, he is a congressional bill. He got ratified. So, regardless, though, I just want to say that the mutagen is bilateral.
Sure. Well,
Yeah, so
well.
I actually
thank
don't
you for
remember how it
clearing that
worked out in the original comic books.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's closer to this cartoon with Hamato Yoshi being Splinter rather than Hamato Yoshi being Splinter the rat's owner. Because I always
Yeah.
thought I was always more familiar with the cartoon back in the day. So when I saw the movie and I was like, oh, Splinter was a rat who then mutated to be more human rather than being a human that mutated into a rat. I always thought that was kind of weird. So it's weird that you actually think about it the other way where it's
yeah,
like the movie made more sense to you than the cartoon.
It's
Totally
because
didn't
they
work that way for me.
had the VHS, the movie on VHS. The show would come on every day, and you had to be in front of the TV at an exact time to watch it. At least but then as soon as it was over, it's like, okay, let's pop the movie in and we'll watch it 4 times in a row. Me and my little brothers. So
Because like if the rules of the mutagen are as we stated, I don't know how Splinter being a rat in the first place would make it so that the turtles would mutate to be more human. They'd end up
Yeah.
some rat turtle hybrid instead.
You're right. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
damn,
so
now the
anyway.
movie's broken.
Which is
The movie's,
because then
I'm sorry to explain it to you that way, but I've known the movie was broken for a long time.
Oh, man.
I still love it, but that just doesn't. This is the part where, at the end of the episode, when we're asking for corrections, people are going to be lighting us up if they actually listen to us.
yeah, probably. But at the same time, you know what we could do is we could take the opportunity of this to this, like, go watch the movie ourselves, and we can just do like a bonus episode of like it's a cartoon comedy research episode where we
Comedy.
watched
Yeah, what Keith,
What the hell are you saying?
oh,
Keith's
cartoon
already-
commentary.
with all the practice we've had, you
God.
can't even get the name right.
No, I can't. I should just commit Harry Carey. No.
Or not.
Yeah. But I was gonna say we could do a bonus episode at some point where we watch, because obviously it's not a cartoon, but we watch the
Cinema
live action
commentary.
movie. Yeah, well, we watch the live action movie and then we compare that back to the cartoon show.
How about we get one podcast actually released before we start doing all the
Yeah,
spin-offs?
maybe we
for it?
finish this one.
Either that or we let
So,
Keith do his cooking one, because I am a little hungry.
well, that
I
was
just make
that was-
chicken sandwiches. Yeah.
yeah.
So Splinter joins the Turtles in pursuit of the Technodrome because he fears his ancient enemy, Orokusaki, is behind it. April returns to the newsroom to see if she can get any info on where the Technodrome went, and probably to get the fuck out of the store for a little bit and get some food.
Wait, so the thing is that nobody's actually been inside the Technodrome or really had any contact with it. Why do they call it the Technodrome? Why do they know that it's called the Technodrome?
I
They
don't
mentioned
know.
it in the first episode.
Do they?
So the first episode, April meets the Turtles after being attacked by who would later become Bebop and Rocksteady. I guess they're still called that as humans.
Yeah.
And they like trash her. They're trying to like trash her van and stuff. From what I remember, this is all from memory. I didn't watch this recently. She meets the Turtles. They bring her back to, or she bring. No, they bring her back to the lair, and I don't know. Stuff happens. A building floods.
Yeah.
It's a weird first episode.
Yeah.
I didn't pick it for many reasons because it was like a really weird first episode.
No, honestly, I
where
watched
a
it like a
building
month or
flooded
two ago.
upwards.
Yeah, I watched it like a month
Do you
or
know how
two
much
ago,
effort
but-
it would take to flood a building that way without any of the windows breaking?
I mean, what's weird about that is that like buildings themselves are not airtight because everybody would suffocate.
Yeah.
So like
Right.
to flood up like multiple floors from a water source inside the building would be highly improbable.
But they did it in the first episode, so
Keith just asked a question. I'm going to ask another question. Did anyone else notice during the scene when Splinter's traveling with them to, go to the Technodrome? He's moving along pretty quickly without that. He's got his cane with him, but he's just hustling around. There's like scenes of him actually running, clearly not needing a cane at all.
yeah, he.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
it's
sorry.
just
I should let you get to the question.
well, yeah. The question. My question is, did you guys notice that? Because later on, and I'm not gonna. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but they bring up the cane later on, and they make it sound like he's
That
this
he's never without it. Yeah.
crippled old man, and I'm like, but we just saw him
It's-
running faster than the kids.
So it's kind of like I would explain it as him being the original Master Yoda in that regard, where it's like he has this thing, he doesn't really need it.
No.
Like when he wants to turn it on, he could turn it on and he could fight. He just, doesn't want to all the time or doesn't need to, so he, rests upon his cane. It's not like he needs it. It's just,
Is that
It's
the power of the rats? Sorry,
No, the power of the rats is burrowing.
I'm jumping
we
ahead
learned.
because Krang. Well, actually, no, I'm not jumping ahead. When Krang says to Shredder, like when they're discussing the turtles and whatnot, Krang's like, "Oh, well, I'll help you with your problem. Like if I understand that like Splinter, like you mutated him, and all he did was he gained the power of the rats." And it was like, wait, what? There's no point in which Splinter's like, oh, let me summon on this rat power to do something. He's like, he's still always just like, oh no, I've mentored the turtles, like I know martial arts. He's not like the Pied Piper, like let
He's
me
not the Rat
summon
King.
let me summon
Yeah.
1,000 rats. I have the power of the rats.
Well,
I
So
mean,
you know, I was also thinking as you're mentioning the power of the rat. uh, I think right around this time, or right around this scene, they're walking through and the ceiling is dripping because, as Corey mentioned, the building had flooded in the episode before, and they're underneath now, so it's like it's raining underground. They said, right?
yeah.
So, let's see. While they're walking through, it was Michelangelo. Okay, so Michelangelo makes a comment about how the Technodrome driving underground being so big and being able to move so much. He makes a comment that's something along the lines of, "This guy is driving Shea Stadium around Undercity,"
Hmm.
and I immediately smiled and I was like, I know those guys have no idea what the reference is, but I know the reference because I'm a Mets fan. But he's basically saying, it's so big that they could be the Mets' old stadium was called Shea
Hmm.
Stadium before they tore it down to make a parking lot for City Field. But it then made me remember, oh yeah, as a kid, I'm pretty sure the Ninja Turtles were Mets fans, and so am I. So it just put a big smile on my face, and that's why I had to bring it up. Nostalgia.
Oh, that's pretty
Sorry.
cool. I super don't care about baseball, but I got the reference. I just
Ah. Well, Keith
well,
didn't get
I
it.
think I thought it was a baseball stadium, but I didn't know it was the Mets, I guess. So the next scene has the Turtles in Time's most annoying enemy, the Roadkill Rodneys. Robotic unicycles with metallic lassos.
yep.
So they go to the zoo and they capture a rhino and warthog from the zoo in broad daylight. Not exactly a great plan, but it works out, I guess. I always thought these were by far the most annoying enemies in the games.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Because
Like they
Agreed.
just, oh,
well,
so
because in the
annoying.
games, those little whips they lashed out were like electrified. So if they
Yep.
hit you, it would like stun you for
Stun
like a
you.
second. And
Yep. You could get chain stunned if there was a couple of them.
yeah, it was super fucking annoying. Or sometimes like you would jump and land into
Right.
one of their
Yep.
whips, and then it would stun you on like the landing, and you're like,
Yep.
come the fuck on. Yeah, it was. I'm getting angry just recounting this. So yeah, it was awful.
Yeah, so today is also the day that I learned what the hell they were called. Roadkill Rodney.
Which
I've never thought about what they were called. I used to always just describe what they did.
no,
But when I was researching this episode, I was just like, I need to have something to call these things. And apparently that's what they're called, Roadkill Rodney.
all right.
So somehow, finally, the Turtles and Master Splinter catch on that the Technodrome can't be hard to follow because of the largest tank treads in the world. But they get to a dead end with rubble blocking the path. And Splinter decides to burrow through on his own, leaving the turtles to find another path because that makes sense and he needs to, be separated from
Well,
them so he can
you
get
know, he's
captured.
a rat, so he can burrow, and the turtles have these big shells on their backs, so they can't fit through the same hole. apparently.
But it's, I mean, it's obviously just a plot device, but it's like,
yeah.
I can't imagine Splinter actually just burrowing through, like, being that big of a rat. Like, I understand how a rat does it.
Yeah.
How Splinter does it, I can't see.
Yeah.
He uses his cane.
Yeah.
He's
It's all
just
powerful cane.
he is just well, he's got all that rat power, as we discussed. He is
that's what it is.
he's literally just like this sleeping giant. Like he can do all of the shit on his own, but he's like, I don't want to. So these turtles are gonna like do the shit but like struggle. Whereas I could do it real easy, but I don't wanna do it. So let me train some turtles. Sounds like my life. I mean, I could do a lot of things that turtles can't do, but maybe I should spend a lot of time just training some turtles to do like the very minor tasks in my life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let us know how it goes.
Anyway, in the next scene,
I'm not going to do it.
Shredder is looking for volunteers from his hench people to try the experimental mutagen. He gets them to agree only when he says it's a way to let them get even with the turtles that clowned them in the first episode. It was basically the first thing that the turtles did. It always, like, used to make me wonder why they didn't just mutate all four of the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, they gave all four of them a pretty distinct look, and I thought it would be interesting to see, like, what their mutation would look like, because seeing Rocksteady and Bebop in their human forms is just like, yeah, I can see how that, translates. But, like, the other guys have very distinct looks, too. I don't know what their names are, if they even have names, but, like, grab 2 more animals from the zoo. Are you guys out of mutagen? Was that it?
well, not only that, but like it doesn't use up the animal. Like they're just exposed to the animal after the mutagen, which then dictates how they mutate. So like they could have had 2 warthog people and 2 rhino people. Like
Oh, yeah, if you just give the mutagen to the animal after exposing them to the human, too. Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
no. I mean,
Oh,
They
double
could
up.
add
or if
6
you had
then.
4, you had 4 people, so you
4
give the
people,
mutagen
2
to-
animals, 6.
Oh no, Tom, that's fucked up though. You give the mutagen to the animal and then expose it to an already mutated human. What is going to happen then?
Ooh.
Yeah, so the best thing about the next scene is we get to see Shredder in a hazmat suit, still wearing his metal helmet.
Yes.
It's next level ridiculous, but I love it. So, Bebop and Rocksteady, as we know and love them, are born. I think if I ever had twin boys, even if I couldn't pull it off, getting the names on the birth certificate, I think I would nickname them Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah.
Like, I just think that's such a cool name to be like, Bebop, Rocksteady, get over here! Just like, trying to get them out of the store.
Yes.
You only use their actual names when you're like yelling at them because they're not listening. Like you're like Bebop, Rocksteady. God damn it, Adam, Joseph. Like I don't know why I picked really
man.
2 like
Yeah,
very
those really biblical names.
real biblical
Yeah.
names. It's
Wow.
because they're I don't know because they're. I could have gone with like also biblical but more common names like Mike and I don't know John. But like I tried to think outside the box, but in the moment my brain just wouldn't go that far outside the Bible apparently. And I'm listeners, I'm not a religious person. It's just that religiously based names are that common.
Well, I
So-
half expected him to go, Moses, Abraham,
Jebediah.
Jebediah.
Jebediah!
Nebuchadnezzar.
Oh man.
Oh man, it used to bother me all the time when people would mix up Bebop and Rocksteady when talking about them.
What? How could you mix them
There
up?
are people out there that will look at Bebop and be like, "Yeah, that's Rocksteady," and I'm just like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
No. So, I actually, in preparation of this episode, was like, I actually got worried about that and looked it up, and I was like, yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
right.
god, no!
Of course I'm
You're
right.
one of them.
No, I know. I looked it up just to make sure because I knew it from like 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. But I looked it up and I was like, yeah, I'm right. Because the names fit. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, like, so then, like, it just validated me. It'd just be like, I didn't have to look this up, but I looked it up just so I wouldn't embarrass myself. And I wouldn't have because I was
And you
fucking
embarrassed
right.
yourself by looking it up.
Yeah.
No, I
telling
didn't.
us.
Well,
about
by
it.
telling us, so you.
Well, no, I'm just being
Yeah, you could hold that
transparent
one
that
pretty close to the chest.
Yeah, that's why I didn't say I did the same thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you seriously?
Yeah.
You people.
I had the
What do you
names.
mean, you
Whoa, whoa. What do you mean?
You
Whoa.
fucking people with your fucking careers
Wait,
and your
wait.
lives,
Hold
not
on,
knowing
hold
this
on.
like the back of your head.
Corey, just because you're self-employed doesn't mean you don't have a career. Just heads up, you have a career.
God damn it, I don't want a career.
That's it. I quit. I quit working for myself. That
I
guy's
fire
an
myself
asshole.
every day.
Yeah.
So back with the turtles on their other path
Yep.
towards tracking the Technodrome, it leads them up through a manhole cover into the busy streets of New York and eventually towards the Channel 6 news building, where April's boss Vern is chewing her a new asshole.
Yep.
It just.
horrible
Yeah.
visual.
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
it's kids' cartoon, but yeah. So he's
Very
just,
progressive for their time.
You know, different people get pleasure in different ways.
Okay.
Hey, I ain't kid shaming.
So he
It's
ends up-
metaphorical. We got it. Okay.
So he ends up sending her out to cover a robbery at the zoo, which is funny because he sends her with nothing.
Yeah.
He doesn't give her a film crew. Like, she could literally go there and just make up whatever, technically. Because she has nothing to prove it with, other than her word. And he later gives her a hard time about even getting a film crew. So she walks out of Channel 6 News and encounters the turtles dressed up as boombox-wielding hip-hop hipsters in disguise.
Which, like, they're like heads, hands, and I believe
Yeah.
feet. I didn't write that down, but like, I believe their feet are also exposed. Maybe not feet, but like heads and hands. Like, they're clearly not human. So
Yeah.
the disguises are
By a lot.
not working. Like, if anybody walks by, they're going to be like, what the fuck is that? So,
Well, you have to keep in mind they're in New York City, so I don't think many people
Yeah.
actually give a shit. You know, they
That's
just
true.
walk by and they don't give a shit. They got their
Yeah,
own
I
lives
feel
to
like there's a lot
get
of
to.
things that if you see it in New York City, you just keep going on about your day.
true.
Yeah.
I
Like,
mean,
especially if you're like think about like some of the stuff you could see here in Times Square, and it's just like you just keep it moving. You just keep it
Yeah.
moving.
I've been to major cities, and there's been stuff that I've seen that I'm just like, oh yeah, it's a city. Okay. Like somebody violently yelling at themselves in the middle of the street. Okay, yeah, you do your thing.
Someone peeing
Bye.
on a building in broad
Bye.
daylight, not
Yep.
even in an alley.
Yep,
Yeah, seen that.
yep.
Yeah.
Pooping on the sidewalk. Yep. Oh, okay, you're just squatting there? Cool. Okay, I'm just gonna across the street right now because that's don't want to get that on me.
So back in the episode here, let me see if this hit with you guys because it completely went over my head, I guess. They burst out laughing when she tells them a rhino and warthog theft at the zoo might lead to the technodrome, and like all the turtles like think it's hilarious.
But then,
And it was just like, for me, it was just like, wait, not really that funny?
like, it's not funny, but like the thing is, there's no connection. And then she's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
but they were stolen by robots." And they were like,
Yeah, and dragged underground. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, you might lead with that.
"Yeah." Then they were just like, "Oh, okay, we're taking you serious now. Thanks, April. Like, thanks for treating us as more than a TikTok."
I don't know what that means, Keith.
Well,
Did you
'cause-
whip?
Like, are you using it as a
but
verb?
But I nay-nayed.
Did you name it? Yeah.
Oh.
No, but like April is clearly using the turtles just as like a story lead. So she's feeding them information just so she can like get some footage afterwards. That's all she cares about. She doesn't care about like the turtle safety or what they're doing, the fact that they're solving some shit. She's just like, I'm about to get fired. Turtles, like, here's some information. Lead me to cool shit that I can film. Like, that's
Kinda, yeah.
she's
Wow, you're
kinda
really
just,
making me not like her.
Yeah, I know.
Damn.
So
So, back underground, Splinter locates the Technodrome, but gets lassoed by a roadkill Rodney, kind of like a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, they really didn't do a good job making Splinter look competent in this episode.
No, it
Not
was
one bit.
pretty bad.
Yeah, he took a few L's this episode.
Yeah.
So, the hole in the ground at the zoo leads the turtles directly to the Technodrome, and they go running right in as Shredder basically, I don't know, invites them into what's
Yeah,
obviously going to be a trap.
Yeah, he invites them into his murder maze, basically.
It's almost like they thought they were running out of time, and they were just like, all right, let's get there. All right, we're here. Kind of thing, you know? 20-minute episode, so... the Shredder puts the turtles through a series of traps and obstacles, including some roadkill Rodneys and a crushing wall, reminiscent of Star Wars,
Yep.
that they pretty much breeze past. The turtles
Well-
are probably more competent.
They didn't just
What was
breeze
that, Tom?
past it, right? Donatello pulls an explosive out of his ass. Like, out of nowhere, Donatello has an explosive.
No, that's
and,
later.
That was
Oh, I'm
after.
sorry. I'm mixing that
later.
up. You're right.
Yeah.
For the walls coming in, he has Leonardo cut off the control panel so
yeah,
he could
they just-
hotwire it. That's right. I'm mixing up the
Yeah.
traps.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so...
Sorry about that.
The turtles are definitely coming off more competent at literally everything they do in this episode than they are in the entire rest of the series, by my estimation.
Wow.
Like, because I think they're at that point where they're like, all right, let's sell some motherfucking toys.
Well, it's nice that they had a good day. They had a good day all at one time.
Yeah, good day at the office for them.
Yeah.
So up next is the best fight scene of the episode and probably of the entire show, I would say, as they square off against a gaggle of killer robots. I think as a kid, I probably rewound this a ton. I don't know about you guys. I was kind of spoiled as a kid, so I had all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures.
Oh yeah.
And anytime I'd be watching the show, I'd also be like playing out the scenes with the action figures.
Absolutely.
So like you had to pretend you had the robots because they didn't release the robots for this, but So Donatello takes out a one-eyed robot with his bow staff and randomly exclaims, "Turtles fight with honor!" It's just like, all right, everybody, let's get some catchphrase out of here, and we haven't warmed up Cowabunga, so we don't have that one in the chamber. So
Yeah, I was wondering what led to that? Like, he just murdered a robot and he shouts that they fight with honor.
Yeah, I
Okay.
know. Like, that wasn't even, like, an honorable way to kill it. You know?
Yeah.
So then Leo chops off all the buzzsaws of an Octobot, telling it to taste cold steel. And Mikey shows a ridiculous feat of strength and
Oh
must
my
have
God.
rolled a natural 20,
Yeah.
demolishing this giant claw robot with one nunchuck swing.
Yeah. Does
Demolishes it.
Yeah,
more damage than any of the other weapons they have with them.
a nunchuck that just breaks through sheets of metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of metal. Not just like a sheet of metal. Like, imagine like your car
Like a
getting
curved,
totaled by one nunchuck
riveted
swing.
piece of metal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he does that, and Raphael's cheering him on as he goes and cleaves through a giant spider robot's legs that are made out of, like, swords.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure this scene might have been why I was a Michelangelo fan as a kid. Because he just, he comes out like the most badass turtle. Despite the
Yeah.
fact that he got clowned on by Leo earlier in the episode.
Yeah, Leo's pretty lucky that Michelangelo didn't like tear his leg off.
Well, Leo was probably fighting for his fucking life, because if Michelangelo's rolling 20s like that,
Yeah.
that could have been the end.
Yeah. Leo
Oh,
knows
but
Look
he
what he
lands
did
a
to
solid
metal.
hit and he's
You
done.
know what it is? Those were mercurial nunchucks. Like the critical multiplier was ×4 instead of ×2. So
Yeah,
that's
we're not
when
D&D nerds or
yeah,
anything.
and then they were keen because they were sharp, and then so then his
3.5 shit in
his
here.
critical range was like 16 to 20, and it was a whole mess. So basically, he had like a 20% chance of just destroying the planet every time he swung one of those things.
Every time he misses, he has a chance of destroying the planet.
Yeah, let me just say, Captain Planet super angry about that. Like he was not pleased with Michelangelo.
I must have missed that episode when Captain Planet shows up to beat the crap out of Michelangelo.
Yeah, but instead he just gave him like a stern scolding, and then Michelangelo's like, "I'm just gonna eat pizza, bro."
Yeah, so Raphael de-wings a flying manta ray robot. And then Michelangelo's already got 2 kills under his belt, and he's just like, don't worry, guys, let me get the other 2. And without even attacking them, first off, he stops beating the shit out of an already dead robot. Like, he's just wailing on this thing that's already down. And he's just like, let me use some trickery to get these other 2 robots to destroy each other. Michelangelo's overpowered.
Yeah.
So, next up, while escaping the robot kill room, Donatello picks up a random bomb from the wreckage.
Yeah,
Which
I
I
thought
guess
it was
Tom
like
missed.
a part of a robot. Like it was like
It was like some explosive part of the robot
yeah, it was like
Yeah.
oh, here's the
that he
robot's
just like eyeballs
giant,
and is just like, let me take this with me.
like yeah, like here's the robot's like self detonation sequence that just happened to come out perfectly.
See, I did miss that clip because later on when he goes to use it, I literally just thought he pulled it out of his ass. I'm like, where did he get a bomb from? He's the guy that's good with
Where did he
machines.
get the duct tape from? Or the electrical tape? He just always
So-
has a roll of electrical tape on him?
So wait, hold on. Why was this not in the video games where Donatello could just like randomly just plant bombs places?
I don't know.
Everybody
Yeah.
would play
Gotta
Donatello
get that Bomberman crossover.
for more than the bow staff reach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they end up using that bomb to get out of the next trap, which is another door that shuts behind them and a spiked rolling cylinder coming
rolling
towards
pin.
them. Basically, yeah. He electrical tapes the bomb to the door and has Leonardo throw a ninja star at it. A shuriken, if you will. And it explodes. And now, despite the fact that I think they just came out of that room that they just went back into, if I'm remembering correctly, now Master Splinter's in that room dangling high above. this wide open arena-like room. And he looks pathetic as fuck. This
He
is
does.
another L on Master Splinter's
Yeah.
record right here. He looks like he's been crying, like he's been like super sad crying.
Yeah.
Like it's just not a good look for him at all. The Shredder introduces himself to the Turtles and tries to recruit them to the Foot Clan. He explains that he was responsible for their existence when he tried to eliminate Splinter, then Hamato Yoshi, with the mutagen.
Which honestly is not a strong argument because, like, it's not like he purposely created the turtles. Like, he's claiming
was an
credit.
accident.
He's claiming credit, but like, if they have any sort of brains, they're like, oh wait, like, oh, you forgot to pull out the mutagen. Your pull-out mutagen
Although-
game was weak, so we're here. And you want to now be like, oh, I'm your daddy? No. No. That's not a thing. Like, Splinter raised us.
So-
you are biological
God.
daddy. You are not rat daddy.
Oh.
Rat daddy is real daddy.
What are you doing? What is happening?
It's not wrong. That's what happened.
Rambling about Rat Daddy.
That's Splinter. Splinter's rat daddy. Rat daddy's real daddy, and Shredder daddy is biological. I accidentally spilled my mutagen. Daddy.
Pull out game week, Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one thing this really points out to me now that I'm thinking about it is one canister of mutagen can mutate 5 individuals at least. They really didn't really do this efficiently with Bebop and Rocksteady.
No. Unless,
So that's
like,
not even an excuse.
well, I mean, obviously it hasn't been used that much. Like, it's kind of weird that Shredder's been, like, he created this mutagen, used it, like, fucking once, created his ultimate nemesis, being the good guys, and then never used it again. Like, up until Bebop and Rocksteady, like, he didn't do any sort of experiments or testing. Like, he used it one time, just being like, I'm gonna take my nemesis and turn him into a rat, and I accidentally gave him a bunch of Ninja Turtles, and now they're after me, and I'm not gonna do any sort of testing whatsoever.
I was just going to ask, I might have missed it, but did he explain? I understand turning his nemesis into Rat Daddy, but what's the deal with turning the turtles into his little
Well,
turtle babies?
That was the mistake. I think he turned
Yeah,
his
that was an
nemesis
accident.
into.
I don't.
The turtles crawled into it, I think.
Wait,
Yeah.
unless he's really, he's like next level bad guy. Not only am I turning you into a rat, but I'm going to make you Rat Daddy. You're going to be in charge. You're going to have to adopt these 4 turtle
no.
babies.
Honestly, as a parent, if somebody was like, "Here is 4 babies," they're your responsibility, I would be like, "Yeah, no, hell no." Like 4
Yeah,
at
that's-
once, 4 babies? No.
That's some top tier
have-
villain shit right there.
I have 1 baby, and that is enough. 1 baby is enough. I am not taking your 4 turtle babies. Not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they say nah. Yeah, they're just like, nah, hit decline.
Yeah.
Enter
suck a lemon.
Bebop and Rocksteady. Is that what they said?
Yeah, they actually said go suck a lemon.
Oh, wow.
I loved that when I heard him say that. I'm like, I haven't heard someone say that in so long.
Like the
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah.
So Bebop and Rocksteady enter the room, and they pretty much get clowned easily.
Yeah.
As do the foot soldiers.
Yep.
The turtles rescue Splinter and escape back to the zoo, where April finally shows up with her news camera, looking for a story.
This fucking TikTok bitch. She's like all social media. She's like the original social media. Like, oh, is there something to film here, turtles? I'm
So,
sorry, I'm just hating on April.
Yeah, damn.
apparently. So, Bebop and Rocksteady explode out of the ground with laser machine guns to try and get their revenge. And during this, so did you guys notice anything interesting about this fight?
Yes.
Well,
So during
Go-
the takedown sequence here, we see Leonardo with a red mask chop the end off of Bebop's gun. Immediately followed by Raphael, also with a red mask, delivering a missile dropkick that Hardcore Holly would be proud of. Followed by Raphael coming from the wrong direction based on where he just dropkicked Bebop to, putting his sai into Rocksteady's weapon, causing it to explode. So, this kind of thing, like the mask issue, like not so much the turtles just being in weird places where they couldn't be, but I have a theory, and I haven't looked into it, so I don't know if it's true. One of the reasons all the turtles have different colored masks is for the cartoon, so they're more easily identifiable. In almost every instance I can think of where a turtle has the wrong color mask, it's always they have a red mask instead of what they should have, which
Yeah.
is the color masks that they would have had originally in the comic books.
yeah.
So I'm wondering if this is like a situation where they originally colored it with all red masks because that's what they all had throughout the entire episode. But then had to redo it when someone high up was like, "Hey, we need to differentiate these turtles more because their weapons aren't always out."
Yeah. So
And like that's also why they have the letters on their belts,
so the
so you can easily
person
know
the person whose job it was to go back through the episode and
and
recolor the mask,
touch it up. Maybe
they
skimped
fucked up.
on it there.
Yeah, they were a little bit lazy that day.
But like specifically when Raphael kicks Bebop, you can see the R on his belt, so you know that's supposed to be Raphael.
Yeah.
So it's weird to see him also like Raphael did a lot of work right there. He stole Leonardo's sword,
Yep.
he drop kicked Bebop, and then he exploded Rocksteady's machine gun.
Yep.
All in the span of like 3 seconds. Just
Which-
as,
that's what-
you know,
which
regular
is
day
why,
ninjas work right there.
Which is why Raphael's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's why he's my favorite.
I feel like it's weird, like how people pick their turtle, because Raphael has never been close to being my favorite.
Well, the thing is, I watched the VHS movie where Raphael was my favorite because he's the only one that has like his own like a little solo storyline.
He has his own story.
for
Yeah.
a part of the movie because like he kind of goes off on his own and like has like
Meets
the
Casey
He
Jones.
has a
Casey
character arc. He
Jones.
has a
Yeah,
whole character arc.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
like to me, Raphael, because of that, had like more depth than
Yeah.
the other turtles. But yeah, watching the cartoon, I totally understand the Michelangelo argument because, I mean, if you could destroy metal robots by swinging a wooden nunchuck, I mean,
Not to mention nunchucks were just like a really cool weapon.
they're a really cool weapon. They're
Very
also
dangerous
like,
to actually own.
Well, in real life, they
Because
were
I know
they
from
are,
firsthand experience, very dangerous to actually own.
but they're
but
incredibly
really cool.
impractical. Like nunchucks
Yeah.
are like a show weapon. They're not like a.
Yeah.
They're not like yeah, there are some people that are really good with fucking nunchucks that could wield them as a weapon, but for the most part, like there are dozens, if not hundreds, of other weapons that you could be more effective with a fraction of the training of nunchucks. So nunchucks are not a practical martial arts weapon for the purpose of like learning them to defend yourself. It is you are learning nunchucks to defend yourself for the sheer audacity and the amount of time and skill that it takes to wield nunchucks as effectively as like another weapon.
And
Sorry-
at any
sorry,
time, like,
Michelangelo.
just swinging it and having it bounce the wrong way off of whatever
Oh.
you just hit
Oh yeah,
could knock you the fuck out.
it's just concussion city. Yeah,
regardless of how much training you have.
yeah.
Yeah, so after that little snafu with the colors and the sequence, the turtles trick Bebop and Rocksteady into getting into one of the zoo cages, like the animals they are, and outsmart them and trap them. April O'Neil shows up to try and get footage, and basically her story is the New Mutants, Bebop and Rocksteady. Rocksteady calls her a bimbo while she's recording them. Probably not something that would fly in today's cartoons, but you know.
Yeah.
After the turtles leave, Roadkill Rodney's rescue Rocksteady and Bebop, saying that the Shredder would like a word with them. And that's the end of the episode.
I really liked how as soon as they get Bebop and Rocksteady in the zoo cage, they're just like, yep, that's a day's work done, and they're just like, okay, time to go home. There's not even a thought of, yeah, maybe we should call the police or some
Oh, I
sort of
know.
authority
Like-
to come here and deal with this.
Oh no! The zookeepers that get paid whatever $15,
Yeah.
$20 an hour, they're just gonna show up tomorrow, know what to do these fucking mutants. Like
Either
these,
that or
these-
just keep them in there until they starve to death? I don't
yeah,
know.
I don't know. Somebody will call the police tomorrow morning. God damn. I mean, I hope zookeepers get paid more than that, but like, all I can imagine is like somebody, like the people that show up in the morning usually are like, it's like the people that open up the place. Like, it's not like the fucking chief executive. It's like the dude that cleans the place. He's gonna show up and just be like, why are there mutants here? What the fuck? Like, I came to like make sure the place was clean before people showed up. And
You know what? It kind of reminds me of Spider-Man. It's the Spider-Man approach. He beats up some bad
Or
guys.
just web them up.
He webs them up, and then he just leaves them hanging for whoever to find them.
Sometimes he leaves a note.
no, that's
He
really
leaves a
awkward.
note
because
sometimes.
in Spider-Man
Your friendly
universe,
neighborhood
then,
Spider-Man.
if
True,
it's a city like New York City where we discuss where you just see shit and you just like ignore it, like that means that there's just a lot of fucking skeletons hanging.
Yeah.
Eventually, where it's just like, what's that, mommy? Oh, that's somebody who apparently was bad enough to just get strung up and
Don't pay
die.
attention to him.
God damn. Spider-Man's fucking brutal. He just strings people up and they just starve to death on
Well, his webbing dissolves, Keith. Come on, guys. You don't know
After-
superheroes like I do?
they
Well, I'm thinking of
It's only good for a
Spider-Man
few
having a
hours.
biological
Whoa, whoa,
web,
whoa,
not
whoa.
the chemical web like
Whoa,
from the
so
comics.
hold on. If it dissolves after a few hours, you're telling me Spider-Man's busting all these bad guys and then they just wait there for a couple hours, and if the cops don't happen to wander by, that they just go free? Spider-Man's the worst
No.
fucking
Keith, they don't
superhero.
go free. They either fall
Right,
and
well,
break their legs
well.
or they break their skulls open.
Okay, so there's a bunch of skeletons on the ground in blood spatters.
I like that all these people just like instantly all their skin and everything disintegrates in Keith's mind.
Yep.
It's just like, no, they're instant skeleton.
That's what
Not
happens,
acid.
right? In real life, when you die, you just immediately turn into a skeleton. Yeah,
Immediately.
you do.
Yeah.
It's like
That's-
fucking super ghouls and ghosts over
That's what
here.
signifies that you're dead. That's how people know. Otherwise, people wouldn't know,
Yeah. Checks out.
and that would be rude. I mean, let's be honest. If you didn't let people know that you were dead, that would just be really rude.
All right, so how many Roadkill Rodneys out of 10 would you give this episode?
Let's see. Who's going first? Me? I'll go first.
Go for
Sure.
it.
Let's see. I think I will give it 7. 7 Roadkill Rodneys. The nostalgia factor would make me want to rate it a little higher, but I think Keith's argument over what a bimbo April O'Neil is
Wow.
actually
I didn't call her that. Bebop
Because
did.
Rocksteady says it doesn't mean
Rock-
you can.
Yeah, Rocksteady. I forgot which one did.
Yeah. Keith, go look it up.
Yeah.
But don't tell Cory.
Fake Turtles
Goddamn.
fan.
I didn't
Turtles
actually even.
fan.
I didn't even catch that, but yeah,
But yeah, I mean,
it makes sense that they casted her as Megan Fox. Let me just say that.
oh,
Sorry, Megan. I don't know
now
you.
we just
I'm not
lost
sorry.
we just lost another fan,
Oh,
Keith.
we're just we lost
Lost
Megan
all of
Fox.
our Megan
No,
Fox fans.
No, we
Yeah.
lost Megan
No,
Fox.
specifically we lost Megan Fox.
We lost Megan
Yep.
Fox. We didn't lose any single fan. We just
Nope.
lost. Oh God.
Just Megan Fox, because she listens, wondering, are they going to talk about my movie too?
Yeah.
But
That's okay.
we're not. We're not.
No one's going to talk about those movies.
Nope. We're just
So I
going
would
to talk.
go with, for me, 9 Roadkill Rodneys out of 10. Mostly nostalgia, like, for me, it really held up. Like, there are some parts of the episode where it just feels like they're meandering around. But the fight scene at the end with all the robots really pulls it together. I remember specifically acting out, like, the first fight with Rocksteady and Bebop with my action figures where they clown on them and jump up out of the way. And, this entire episode is just complete nostalgia for me, but watching it multiple times now as an adult, I think it holds up. There are animation issues near the end, but it's still a really, really fun episode. So,
Yeah.
9 Roadkill Rodneys out of 10 for me.
I'm gonna say not quite that high, just because I didn't like. I have nostalgia for Turtles, but not necessarily for this cartoon because I caught random episodes. I'm gonna say 7.5, purely because I also about a month and a half ago purchased the first season of this on Amazon specifically to show my daughter because she kept on asking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, and I watched the whole first season with her.
That's got to be a great fucking, parent moment.
It's it's bittersweet though because honestly, like we were watching it and she's like really into some parts, but like at the same time, cartoons from the '80s are slower than cartoons nowadays.
Well, I mean, look at the entire beginning of this episode.
Oh
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like there are parts where she's just getting distracted and she literally like gets up and starts doing something else and then I'm like, all right, cool. And then like when something cool starts happening, like I'll like clue her into it or sometimes she'll just like see it happening and she's like, oh, like, and she comes back, she like runs back over and sits with me and like watches for like 5 minutes. And then like when that action scene's over, she's like, okay, like I'm gonna go color because coloring is more important than this episode. And I'm like, oh, you're making me feel bad about my childhood because apparently I'm not artistic. I just did not do enough coloring. But I don't know. So I'm gonna give it a 7.5. Like to me, it definitely hits some nostalgia factor because I have multiple facets of turtle nostalgia through toys and movies and whatnot. I tried to show the episodes to my daughter and she was like halfway into them, halfway not. I think it was solid. I think for a 1980s cartoon, if you watched any of this or are nostalgic about Turtles, I think that you will enjoy it. I don't think that you should go into it having like the expectation for it to be a fucking masterpiece by any means. Like it's a 1980s cartoon and have that expectation. Go and watch it and you'll have a good time.
Oh yeah, I would definitely recommend it still, and the series as a whole. But I did notice watching it. I don't know. I don't want to say it felt dated because well, I don't know. Something about it just felt a little off watching it as an adult, like noticing little things, and it kind of chipped away at it for me. But I mean, I probably would have rated it a 7.5 if I realized that's right. We could do the 0.5s. But yeah, I would lean towards 7.5 just because I do love the Ninja Turtles. I mean, I had all those. In fact, we still have all those toys 'cause my mother's a hoarder and she still has every childhood toy I've ever owned. So like, I mean, I absolutely love them, and I would tell people definitely watch this series. So even though I gave it a 7, my I was being a little harsh. It's a harsh 7, and I still recommend the
Yeah.
series. I still recommend the Turtles.
Yeah, and these ratings are just based on the one episode we happen to watch. This isn't. If
Hmm.
we were to rate something really low or really high, that's not saying that the entire series is
Right, right.
amazing or horrible. And just a little bit of housekeeping. At the point when we're actually recording this, we've recorded the next 18 episodes you're going to be listening to. So we did them a little bit out of order just because I always knew that we wanted to start with a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles episode, and we wanted
Mm.
to get this podcasting thing a little bit more under our belt, a little bit of experience. Didn't want to just go in and not know what we're doing, have a bunch of dead air, and a whole bunch of reasons. So we'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to three guys ramble about cartoons. If you'd like to ramble about our ramblings or what we rambled about, you can join the Cartoon Commentary Podcast group on Facebook. If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, you can reach us at cartooncommentary.podcast@gmail.com. And for the most part, we're going to try and be pretty active with responding to people in the Facebook group, uh, messages, stuff like that. The only thing I would say is since the next 18 or so episodes have been pre recorded, we won't really be able to talk about any of these things during the episodes because we recorded them at points when we didn't have listeners, hopefully. Well, specifically, hopefully we end up having listeners eventually.
Well,
Hopefully you're
not
listening to
Megan
these words right
Fox.
now.
Yeah.
Am I talking to nobody? Am I talking to just us?
Yep.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, Megan Fox. Nah, probably not her.
Yeah. Sorry.
Not anymore.
Sorry. No, I said sorry.
Not
Sorry, Megan.
specifically
Sorry.
not now.
I said sorry, Megan, so she can keep listening now.
Well, yeah, but then I fucked it up, so it's fine. Uh,
You know,
So,
Corey just
anyway.
never fucking apologizes, so that's done.
no. So until all are one, I've been Cory.
I've been Tom.
Yeah, I'm supposedly Keith.
Cowabunga, dude. Bye bye.
Bye.
Penicillin pizza. Dick.